All right, so let's see if the audio is okay. Yeah, perfect. How's it going, everyone? I hope you all are doing great. I am back with another daily analysis. As always, I'm gonna start off with the Forex analysis. And to be more exact, I'm gonna start off with Euro NZD, where we have another beautiful setup playing out in our favor. Sorry. The reason I say another one is because this week was extremely profitable. We caught so many beautiful trades. We caught a beautiful 6-hour trade on NAS100 that smashed all the targets on both entries. And once again, we catch a beautiful trade right here on Euro NZD, a buy limit. Okay, it literally triggered our first entry and it went straight into profit right afterwards. Okay, the reason I took this setup is because I saw a aggressive break towards the upside imbalance that was left behind. Okay, I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that was lining up perfectly with the area of interest of this bullish range. I also saw that the trader graph was fully bullish, and lastly, the final confirmation was for us to get a corrective pullback, and these three candles looked pretty corrective to me. Okay, we didn't have one straight pullback towards our entries. No, we had three consecutive bearish candles that weren't really aggressive, especially the last one. It was a doji, okay? And the rest was history. It smashed TP1 and TP2, and literally as we speak, it is approaching the final targets. So a very, very beautiful setup. Next up, we have USD CHF with a bearish opportunity. Right here, we have a aggressive break, a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Liquidity was swept beforehand as well right here. The trader graph is fully bearish, and now we need to wait for a corrective pullback, basically for our final confirmation. On Euro GBP, things look bearish, very textbook break towards the downside, unmitigated order block lining up with the area of interest as well as with this bearish trader order block. Liquidity was swept beforehand as well. The daily and the 4-hour are both bearish on the trader graph, and the pullback has been very, very corrective, but we need to wait for it to approach our entry, our fire zone, because it was too far away. On ONZD, we have another bearish opportunity, a bearish shift in momentum here, a liquidity sweep followed by a aggressive break towards the downside. We have this unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the area of interest, and now we need to wait for a corrective pullback towards our fire zone. On GBP, JPY, we have a bearish opportunity, very textbook break towards the downside, continuing this downtrend. Okay, we have this unmitigated order block lining up with the area of interest. The trader graph is fully bearish, and now we need to wait and see whether we manage to get a corrective pullback or not. On CAD-JPY, we have a very similar setup. The yen has been extremely strong for the past couple weeks. Aggressive break, fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest as well as with this bearish trader order block. The trader graph is fully bearish, and now we need to wait for a corrective pullback towards our fire zone. On Euro JPY, we have another bearish opportunity. We have an aggressive break, fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The trader graph is fully bearish, and finally, we need to wait for a corrective pullback. Okay, so the yen, as we can see, is extremely strong. On AUD CAD, we have a very textbook break towards the downside that left imbalance behind. We have this unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the area of interest. The trader graph is fully bearish, and now we need to wait once again for our final confirmation. OJPY, of course, with a bearish setup because the yen has been extremely strong, as we can see over here as well. Aggressive break, unmitigated block lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The trader graph is red fully, and now we need to wait for the corrective pullback. Euro CHF, what do we have here? Another bearish opportunity, very aggressive break, as we can see. Liquidity was swept beforehand as well, which is a great added confluence. The trader graph is fully bearish, and now we need to wait for a corrective pullback. Euro USD, with a bearish opportunity. Right here, we swept liquidity, okay, with this fake out. And after that, we had this aggressive break towards the downside. We have this beautiful fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest, as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4 hour is bearish on the graph as well. And so far, the pullback has been nice and corrective. And lastly, we have AUD USD with another bearish opportunity. Right here, we have a very clear and textbook break towards the downside. We have this unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the area of interest. The trader graph is fully bearish, and now all we need to wait for is a corrective pullback. And on that note, we'll end the Forex analysis right here. As always, if there's any other questions, make sure to reach out on Discord. Now I will go over today's metals analysis, starting off with gold, where I identified a very clear bearish opportunity. We have this super aggressive break, a liquidity sweep right before it as well, this unmitigated order block lining up with the area of interest, as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4 hour is bearish on the trader graph, and now we need to wait for a corrective pullback. And on silver, what do we have here? Another bearish opportunity, looking very similar actually, okay? Aggressive break, fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Above and below it, we have 2 bearish trader order blocks as well. Liquidity was swept beforehand, and the trader graph is fully bearish. Now, of course, we need to wait for our final confirmation, which is a corrective pullback. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's metals analysis right here. Make sure to reach out on Discord if there's any further questions. And now I will go over today's indices analysis, starting off with US 30, where I wasn't really able to identify anything new. Hence why we'll just leave the chart as is and come back to it later. Okay, there's no point to force any setups. This week has been extremely profitable already. Same story on SPX. Things look bearish, yes, but I don't really see a valid bearish range that we can trade. We also have a gap here, okay? So yeah, once again, we're just gonna sit on our hands and wait for some fresh structure. And lastly, on NAS100, we just had the beautiful trade smashing all of our targets, okay? This was the range that we took, I think. Yeah, it literally tapped our entries and then boom, went straight into profit, smashing all of the targets. And now there's nothing new to analyze. So yeah, we keep it simple, we leave it as is, and we move on. And on that note, we'll end the indices analysis right here. As always, make sure to reach out on Discord if there's any other questions. And lastly, I will go over today's crypto analysis, starting off with Bitcoin, where our bullish opportunity just got triggered. Both of our entries triggered. Now we just need to see how the price will react to our entries, okay? The reason I took this setup is because I saw an aggressive break, a very nice and corrective pullback, as we all can see, and a unmitigated order block that was lining up perfectly with the point of interest, and liquidity was swept beforehand as well. Now, like I said, it's just a waiting game. We just need to see if it will run in our favor or not. Ethereum right here, we have a very aggressive bearish push. Unfortunately though, I wasn't able to identify a bearish range yet. Hence why we'll just leave the price as is and wait for some fresh structure. On Dogecoin, right here, things look a bit bearish, but once again, I wasn't really able to identify a new range. Hence why we're not gonna force anything and leave it as is. XRP, right here, we have this setup running in some profits literally as we speak. TP1 was smashed on both of our entries, and now it's just a waiting game, really, okay? The reason we took this setup once again is because we saw a liquidity sweep followed by an aggressive break. We had this fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest, and lastly, check the pullback, okay? The pullback was very nice and corrective. So pretty much all the confluences were in place for us to take this setup. And lastly, we have Solana, where we had some very nice profits, okay? So both of the entries smashed TP1 and TP2. We had a very beautiful sniper reaction. And yeah, now we just need to see if TP2 is going to be basically the max point that this setup reached, or if it's going to go towards TP3 as well. Once again, the reason I took this setup is very simple. Firstly, I saw an aggressive break towards the upside. Secondly, I saw that the daily and the 4 hour were both bullish on the graph. We also had this tiny fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. And if you look closely, price literally reacted to this fair value gap. Okay, literally tapped it and then went straight to the upside. And lastly, we had a very nice and corrective pullback as well. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's crypto as well as the overall daily analysis right here. As always, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all on the dork side. Take care.